Welcome to the Say It Out Loud podcast. I'm your host, Vasavi Kumar. If you're eager to gain clarity, speak with unwavering confidence, and liberate those inner voices, you're in the perfect spot. My mission here is to empower you to break free, find fulfillment, and ignite your passion. You ready? It's time to say it out loud. I've put together a guide of my top 10 tested and proven to work practical strategies and habits to help bright women like you say no, set your boundaries right, live confidently, and build healthy relationships, starting with the relationship you have with yourself. This is a self-paced guide, and I can't wait for you to dig into it so you can start becoming your most confident self, because she's in there waiting for you. Head to the link in my show notes or go to vasavikumar.com/guide and grab it today. Okay, I have a very special treat for you today. I was recently interviewed on my friend Yolanda's podcast called Date Better. She brought me on the show because she was like, Vasavi, you are 40, you are child-free, you are single, like you need to be on the show. And she wanted to talk to me about my decision that I made very early on in life to not have children. And I don't usually talk about that out loud. And I talk about a lot of things out loud, but I don't really talk about that out loud. And it's the first time I've really, like, someone's taken the time to ask me about that. And so I really appreciated the opportunity and the space to be able to say things that I'd never even heard myself say out loud because I'd never been asked certain questions. But that's really the power of questions. Really, like asking the right questions, asking powerful questions. Sometimes those are the most simplest questions sometimes, you know? And so I really appreciate Yolanda for going there. And what's going to happen next is that I'm going to stop, and then you're going to hear Yolanda's voice because we're going to get straight into our conversation on this episode. So if you have ever wondered like why I chose to be child-free and what it's like for me to be single in my 40s, or if you yourself are single in your 40s and child-free, or maybe you're single but you have children and you maybe want to date again, or you are dating, you know, whatever your setup is right now, whatever your situation is, I bet you'll get something from it. So stay open, be open, listen to it if you feel like it, and I'll catch you on the other side, okay? Thanks so much for tuning in. Let's go.
So Vasavi, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's fun to be here. I'm excited to get into it. Date better. Let's go. I'm ready.
Yeah. So as Vasavi and I were just randomly talking in DMs one day, she brought up this really hot topic of dating and children. And Vasavi, how old are you, if you don't mind?
I'm 40. I don't mind. I'm 41 and I'm going to be 42 in May.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. May what?
18th. I'm a Taurus.
Oh, okay. My mom's a Taurus too. She's on the 10th though.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, before we dive into this, first and foremost, tell us about the book and where we can find you.
Okay. So the book is Say It Out Loud. It's all about transforming the way you talk to yourself. So let me say that in a different way. If you have negative self-talk, then you need to get my book.
Which is everyone that listens to this podcast.
Which is everyone who listens to this podcast, it is every person that you meet. We all have some form of negative self-talk that keeps us back in certain areas of our life. You can get the book anywhere: Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, my website, vasavikumar.com. So yeah, it's available everywhere.
Yeah. And where do we find you hanging out on social media?
You can find me on Instagram, and my handle is my name is Vasavi.
Yay. So Vasavi, tell us your story, your journey. I know that in the first couple of pages of the book, you talk about your childhood, and give us the juice. Like, what is it that created Vasavi into this speaker, author, voiceover actress?
I think I came into this world very lighthearted and very effervescent. Like, I just wanted to have a good time. I want to have a good time no matter what I'm doing, even if I'm grocery shopping. And like no matter what I'm doing, I want to have a good time. I think life is meant to be fun. It is meant to be enjoyed. It's already so freaking hard as it is. And so I really take it upon myself to have fun no matter what I do. And I extended that into my career as well. So I've always been a very curious cat when it comes to what can I do to make money, right? What can I do? What is my profession? I never got caught up in just doing one thing. And my parents were very supportive of that. My mother, especially, my father also, but my mother always, when I said to her I wanted to go to culinary school, she said, okay, let's go to culinary school. When I said I wanted to go to yoga teacher training, I went to yoga teacher training. Like I didn't get any pushback from my family. I think they just saw that I was someone who was always going to do what she wanted to do. Um, but I think if you look at the culmination of all the things that I do, everything that I do involves my voice. Whether I'm a speaker, whether I'm a podcaster, I have my own podcast, the Say It Out Loud podcast, whether I'm a guest, whether I'm a voiceover artist, whether I'm helping other people with their communication and self-expression. Everything that I do, it boils down to who you are, who you be, and what you're saying. Is what you're saying representing you in the best light possible? Right. So, because, you see so many women, I'm sure, Yolanda, even when they're talking about their dating life, they talk about themselves in such a way that is not very, not very nice. Right. We don't talk about ourselves in the kindest way. So I've just been obsessed with this since I was a kid. I write about this in my book, right? My parents would argue a lot and nothing was ever really resolved. And I just really thought that the way that communication and conflict could be resolved is if we just shut up and listen to the other person, but also gave ourselves the permission to say it out loud. So I think what really created me was my persistence, my determination, and also having a family that does support what I do.
Yeah, I love that. And how old are your parents?
Oh, my mother just told me this. I hate hearing how old they're getting. My mother was born in 52, so she is 72 right now.
Okay.
And my father is 76.
Okay. And I believe that's an interesting take because I work with some people and culturally their parents want them to go be the doctors, be the lawyers. So it almost sounds like your parents were a bit untraditional in their own right, which I love.
Well, you have to understand, and I missed this part, is that I have an older sister who became a doctor. She got married and she had the two kids.
Okay.
So I kind of got let off the hook a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see. I see. And so remind me, were you a social worker at some point? Why do I have this in my mind?
You do. You
Okay.
do have it in your mind because it's true. I'm a licensed therapist in the state of Texas. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, perfect. Are you
Yeah.
taking clients?
Always. Listen, I'm never out of business. I'll tell you right now. Someone always needs therapy. So
Yeah.
taking clients. Yeah.
I love that so much. So if you're in Texas, we can hook you up with Vasavi there. So you grew
Absolutely.
up as this opinionated, effervescent, just want to have lightness and fun in your life. Was that ever stifled for you? Or did you ever feel the need to
Yeah.
shrink yourself?
Yeah, I think from a very young age, I grew up in an all-white town. My family was like one of three Indian people. So I
Mhm.
immediately felt like I had to shrink because I didn't feel like I fit in this blue collar, all white town. My parents are white collar professionals. They're doctors and accountants. It's fine what your profession is, but I did not fit into the community that I grew up in. Not
Mhm.
only because of where I came from socioeconomically, but also my name is Vasavi and I'm brown and my mother wears a dot on her head. So I was reminded every day of how different I was. And
Mhm.
so from a very young age, as lighthearted and effervescent as I was, I from a very young age started shrinking, probably as early as first or second grade, when I was be aware of how different I was and how unaccepted I would be in my
Mm.
school. I just remember being teased. And I mean, I was not the cool girl growing up. I'm still not the cool girl. I don't care to be the cool girl, but I was definitely the girl that was bullied a lot growing up. And so definitely a lot of shrinkage happening.
Yeah. A
Yeah,
lot of
and that a lot of shrinkage, not in that way, but in this but a lot of shrinkage going on. But and that carried on, in my middle school years, high school years, even in my college days. I I, I want to say that I finally know myself now
Mm.
at 41, and I'm still learning. I'm still uncovering so much of like, oh damn, like I still see patterns from like my 30s now, and I'm like, oh wait, we've outgrown that. You can let that go. So it's a beautiful and constant evolution.
Absolutely. I love that
Yeah.
that spot about constant evolution. And I do want to just throw this out there. You say you're not the cool girl. Whenever I see your content, it's always in these bright, bold colors to just really capture you. And you're very magnetic. So I think that we can define what cool is, because
Yes.
there's somebody that follows you or seeing your content, and to them, especially the woman that has a really hard time finding her voice or is struggling with those negative thoughts, she's looking at you like, damn, who is this woman? So no shrinkage there either. You are a cool girl.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think I just definitely was traumatized by how it was growing up. I mean, kids can be mean.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, I hear you. So, okay, so we grow up, we are evolving into this part of ourselves. You are trying all different things, yoga teacher training, going to school to become a therapist. Tell us about your journey in love as you've grown into the Vasavi that we know and see today.
So I've been in 3 relationships in my life. The first relationship was a marriage. I got married when I was 28 and I got divorced by the time I was 31. I was with him for 10 years total,
wow.
but we were married for 3. Yeah. And he's still alive. He is a wonderful human being. We have no bad blood between us. We just don't talk because he's remarried and has a kid, so I don't mess with that. I'm not going to mess with that.
Right.
But we have no bad blood between us. I ended the marriage because just felt like we were on completely parallel paths, and it just wasn't for me. So I left, and I felt I was causing more harm by staying than by leaving. So I left at 31. After that, stay single. I got into a relationship very shortly after and moved the guy in with me.
Oh shit.
So yeah, I bet you didn't expect that. Someone 8 years younger than me, best sex of my life. The most toxic relationship, but the best sex of my life.
That's always the good D as a prison.
Yes, I definitely was distracted, and I definitely, it was that toxic sex. I'm telling you, it was like some of the best sex I had, but it was awful. I mean, if you want to talk about life lessons learned, I learned and betrayed myself so much in that relationship. That is the relationship that shattered me open. That was like, wow, Voss, you have no boundaries. You have no self-respect. Your self-esteem is shot. You are codependent as fuck. Like, I did not even realize I had it in me to go there, to be this person that would just say yes, that would take somebody back after they cheated on them multiple times. I became someone I could not even recognize. So that was for the majority of my 30s. Oh, and I developed a cocaine addiction in that relationship.
Coke is
Probably should
drug.
mention that. It is a hell of a drug. I'm going to be 5 years sober in March from cocaine. So yes, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I had to go to rehab twice for that. So that was that relationship, whatever, in 2017. And then I got into another relationship right after, and we got engaged. There was a pattern here. Vasavi never stayed single long enough to actually get to know herself. This is the first time I've actually been single.
Mm-hmm.
It's been about 3 years now since I've been single. And there's nobody right now. I don't have a situationship. I don't have a roster. I don't have any backup. I'm not on the dating app. And I just went and got my hair done today. And I was talking to the hairstylist, and he asked me, he was like, so are you on dating apps and all this stuff? I said, no, I truly believe that when I'm out living my life, God will put this person in my life, and it's going to work out. Personally, for me, Yolanda, I don't like the dating apps. I don't want to do that. It's not in my personality to do that. I mean, could I try? Yes, but it's just, I don't want to do it. And I don't want to approach dating with that attitude. So for me right now, where I'm at, I'm just living my life. I'm traveling almost every other month. I'm hanging out with friends. I'm saying yes to things that I wouldn't normally say yes to. And I believe that God has a plan. I believe that we have to have our faith, but we also have to do our part.
Yeah,
so,
it's in the you doing you that I believe helps us getting to alignment, essentially, right? When you are out here vibrating, not giving a fuck because you're completely detached to the outcome, you have trust in the universe. If it's going to find me, it's going to find me. And in the meantime, I'm living. And I love that. I do believe I'm a fan of dating apps just because I'm one,
Yeah.
whatever. But I really had the mindset. I wasn't really necessarily looking for anything. It was just, well, I'm not going to be single. And I went out and I still lived my life and had a great time. And I think that the most important thing for the woman that might be listening to this is single, you don't have to get on a dating app, but you also have to be doing what Vasavi is doing, which is getting outside, being in the quote streets, as the kids say. And I
Yeah.
talk to a
Yeah.
lot of women that aren't doing that. And I'm like, okay, this man is not going to drop from your ceiling fan.
You know what? I remember you said something on one of your Instagram reels, and I really loved it when you talked about, don't walk into Target with your head down,
Yeah.
because you're
Mhm.
really giving the vibration of like being closed off. And I really took that to heart. Like everywhere, no matter what I'm dressed like, I could be wearing a hoodie like this right now, but whatever, I'm looking ahead, I'm open, I'm aware of things because
Mhm.
guy that doesn't give a fuck that I'm wearing sweatpants,
Absolutely
he's
not.
gonna
They don't care.
he's going to be drawn to my energy and my magnetism, which naturally oozes out of me. So I am getting out there. Yeah, it oozes me. I can't help it. It's just the way that I am bred, I guess. So I'm just very looking forward to continuing to live my life and see what happens.
Yeah, I love that mentality. And you are not an introverted person, I would say.
I really do love so I love my alone time a little bit too much, Yolanda.
Okay.
I think I might have a little bit of a cocooning problem where I can cocoon a lot. And then even like going outside and like meeting somebody feels weird. Like talking to a human feels weird because I've been cocooned for so long.
Okay.
I love to, like, I get my energy from being alone, but
Mhm.
put me in front of a group of people, I'm great. Like I won't be exhausted. I love it. Yeah.
I am very much a similar energy, which is why I like social media so much because it allows me to feel like I'm around people, but I'm by myself.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah. You have your marriage that dissolves. What was the ultimate breaking point for you in ending a relationship that you had been with someone for 10 years? I know that you said it felt like you were in different universes, but what was it? What was the straw? What was the final thing?
We did and said some things to each other that you just can't look back from. You just can't. It got physical point on my end, not physical. And for me, I'm someone that really has her anger in check. Like I know how to regulate. I know how to calm myself down. But at that point, like the minute you put your hands on somebody, you know what I mean? Like it's just I lost complete control. And the minute I lost control, that type of control, I no longer felt safe with him because if he could push me to that edge, like I didn't feel safe anymore. He said some things to me, like it was wrong that I did that. I don't care if it's a man putting his hands on a woman or that should not happen, no matter what, in my books. And he said some things to me that were really below the belt, like he knew that they would hurt. And then there was also an emotional affair that took place. So on my part, and it just got really, and neither one of us had the skills to move through it. And so I thought instead of continuing to hurt each other, that I should just exit. And that's what I did. And it was a very peaceful divorce. We had nothing to split. It was just very much like sign the paperwork. 90 days later, we're divorced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my ex-partner and I dated someone that was older than me by 14 years, but when we separated, it was the same thing. It was very much this amicable, we're just going to go our separate ways because I was really the one that brought it up because I feel that he never would have. And I love the point of not continuing to hurt this person because it
Yeah.
wasn't that I was doing anything blatantly hurtful, but I do believe when we stay in situations and relationships where neither person is happy and you kind of don't vocalize, you build this level of tension and resentment and anger towards this person that you love so enough to say yes to being, quote, potentially with them for the rest of your life. So I love that. And I know that
Yeah.
there are a lot of women that stay in unhappy relationships, and we don't have to do that if we don't want to do that.
No, I think what age, getting older has taught me and age has taught me, for me at this age, what the hardest thing for me was to walk away. Like I felt like I was giving up. I felt like I was surrendering. I felt like I was waving my white flag. And I am the kind of person that's like, no, we will figure this out. No matter what, we will figure it out. And I'm just not like that anymore. The minute I feel like it's off, I'm just like, you know what? I'm saying I give up. But if I'm just like, we don't need to force this. We don't have to force things. I'm becoming a lot more comfortable with transition. I'm a Taurus. I'm a fixed sign. It is very hard for me to change my mind. It is very, and I'm finally accepting that about myself. I'm not very flexible. I'm quite rigid in my ways, and it works for me. But I can. It works for me in some areas, but I can also see, like, for example, when a relationship is ending, no, bitch, do not keep holding on for dear life. Like, learn to let go. So I finally feel like I'm like giving myself the freedom to just let go because I'm done. Like, I know when I'm done. I'm mentally done way early, but I just energetically, I'm hooked onto this person, so I stay in it.
Yeah. I relate to that, but also I'm the complete opposite. I am an air sign. If you could see my tabs open on my computer right now, I'm looking at there's 30 tabs in one screen and I have multiple screens. Like that is the hot mess of my brain. And I could use a fixed sign in my life, probably. My boyfriend's also a Libra.
Is that that's not is a Libra a fixed sign?
No, we're cardinal signs.
Oh, okay, got it. All right.
Yeah.
So you need me in your life. Everyone needs a Taurus in their life, or some sort of fixed sign. Yeah.
Totally agree with you. So Vasavi, when you were first married, did you want to have children?
Let's take a quick break.
Having been in therapy since the age of 12, I know firsthand just how powerful the process of finding the right therapist is. Going to therapy and talking things out with my therapist has made me happier, clearer, and most importantly, I have a plan for my mental health. I have tools to be able to communicate with others, and also the tools to cope when life gets hard, which it does. So let me ask you a question. Is something interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals? Regardless if you have a clinical mental health issue like depression or anxiety, or if you're just a human who lives in this world who is going through a hard time, therapy can give you tools to approach your life in a very different way. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about today's sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp's mission is to make therapy more affordable and more accessible. And this is an important mission because finding a therapist can be really hard, especially when you're limited to the options in your area. BetterHelp is a platform that makes finding a therapist easier because it's online, it's remote, and by filling out a few questions, BetterHelp can match you to a professional therapist in as little as a few days. It's easy to sign up and get matched with the therapist. There's a link in my description. It's betterhelp, HELP.com/Vasavi. That's betterhelp.com/Vasavi. Clicking that link helps support this podcast, but it also gets you 10% off your first month of BetterHelp so you can connect with the therapist and see if it helps you. And because finding a therapist is a little like dating, if you don't really fit with that therapist, which is a common thing with therapy, you can easily switch to a new therapist at no additional cost without stressing out about insurance, who's in your network, or anything like that. I don't know where I would be without the help of therapy and my therapist, but I do know that life would feel that much harder. So if you're struggling, consider online therapy with BetterHelp. Click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/Vasavi. Thank you again, BetterHelp, for supporting this podcast.
No, I did not. And I honestly feel like now that we're talking about this, I think the reason why I did not want to have kids is because I didn't want to have it with him. I didn't trust him enough to have kids with. But overall, ever since as early as I got my period, and I got my period when I was 12. So let's just say around that age when girls are kind of fantasizing and talking about their marriage and this, I want to get married. I never once wanted to have kids, ever. I never wanted to have children. It has never been a question for me. I think maybe once when I was like in my mid 30s, when all my friends were having kids, I was like, oh, is something wrong with me for not wanting to have kids? I questioned it, but now it's like, I am very proud of myself that I be true to myself. And thank God I did not have kids with someone just to have kids with them, you know. In that second relationship that I got into after the divorce, I did get pregnant and I ended up having a miscarriage. And so that was my only experience of a pregnancy. And it ended up in a miscarriage. This was in 2017. So that's my experience with kids. And with children, with pregnancy, with all that. But I never wanted to have kids. I did not want to give that time and energy. I didn't want to give myself like that to another human being. I didn't see the point. I didn't understand why. Why would I do that? When I think it's because I had been shrinking for so long, Yolanda. And then the thought of having children made me feel like I would have to shrink even more. Like I would have to like let go more of my needs and more of who I am to then take care of another person. I felt like I've been caretaking my whole life. I've always been managing other people's emotions my whole life, starting from my parents. I didn't want to manage another human being.
Yeah. It's interesting. And when we were talking back and forth about this, we were having a conversation about that desire that some women just don't want to have kids. And we have got to get whatever's been beat into society about. I have a reel that recently went viral and men talking about, oh, you're over 35. No one's going to want you. Like, you're so this, you're so that, like, go shrivel up. And for some women, I believe that it's just not in us. It's just not in us to desire kids. And when I was around like 8 years old, I always questioned, why don't people adopt children? I could never understand it. And I always said, I don't really think I want to have my own kids. And if I did, I just want to adopt. And so I was with one of my second long-term relationship. My partner did not want to have children. And I was at that ripe age of like 27, 30, and everyone's doing the thing, having babies, getting married. And I wasn't quite sold on this idea of having kids or not having them, but I wanted to be able to have options. And it was really interesting, but he was just like, no children. It's not the thing for me. And then of course, after we broke up, not even in enough of a time span to get somebody pregnant, he sent me a sonogram in a text message. And he was like, I'd rather you hear this from me than see it online. And I'm like you, when I end things, it's always very amicable. I'm a Libra. I don't like conflict. I run away from conflict. So things always end on decent terms. And we had stayed in touch, but I believe that there was potentially an emotional affair going on when we were in that relationship. So I ended that. And then my next partner, the one that was 14 years older than me, already had 2 kids. And it took a lot of pressure off of me because he was really upfront in the beginning that he was done. He didn't want to have kids. And I didn't really see our relationship going anywhere. And then we were together for 6 years. And so as I started doing my own healing work coming out of all of this, I started to, for me personally, look at where this big like X on kids was coming from. And for me, it wasn't necessarily this, I feel like I'm going to shrink down or anything. It was more for me that I didn't want to have kids because I come from a divorced home and my father was never there. And I did not want to put a child through that life. And so now I always joke and I say I'm the cliche because now that I've met someone, I love him like I've never loved anyone else. And our kid would be probably very beautiful. It's just kind of like, shit, am I too late or what's going to happen? And we've had these conversations, but I've actually never been pregnant. I've never had an abortion, never had a miscarriage, never had a late period. So there's always been a part of me that's like, well, and I've not always been responsible. Let's be fucking for real. But can my body even do this, So I love just sharing the different perspectives to give women different outlooks. So I appreciate you being so like open about your decision.
Yeah, I think women need to know what their options are. I was at the hairstylist today and I was eavesdropping on the girl next door, the girl sitting next to me. And she said this to her stylist. She goes, I'm turning 30 and I should have had kids by now. I just can't wait to be 60 and finally start enjoying my life. And I'm like, wait, you're going to wait till you're 60 to start enjoying your life? And you think by 30, you're supposed to have kids? Listen, you do you, okay? But really start to question why you want the things that you want and not question it in a way of like invalidating yourself or gaslighting yourself, but just being like, do I want this because I've been told that I should want this, or do I actually really want this? Because I will tell you, I've talked to a lot of women who tell me, Boss, I'm so jealous of you that you chose not to have kids. I have so many of my girlfriends who have kids in Austin who have told me, I'm jealous of you because you chose not to have kids. And like, yeah, it's hard. It's hard work. And it's not, that doesn't mean it's not rewarding, but I always feel like a lot of women say, it's really fucking hard, but it's so rewarding. And like, yeah, but like, I don't, for me, see the reward. I see the reward in me building myself up and me using the talents that God has given me for me to bring forth my version of a baby, whether it's my book, whether it's my podcast, whether it's a voiceover project, whether it's an interview like this. All of these are things that I'm nurturing. My voice is what I'm nurturing in this season. So I just, I just know when you know, you know. Just like when you know you want to have kids, you know you want to have kids. No one can take that away from you, and no one should. It's your desire. I've never wanted to have children, and nothing and no one can stop me and try change my mind.
I love that. Are you open
Yeah,
to dating men that have children?
I am. I'll tell you what I'm not open to. I'm not open to dating a man who has kids that I would be forced to step in and be a
Uh-huh.
stepmother to. I
Hmm.
do not mind dating a man who has kids where I can be like the your dad's girlfriend, your dad's fiance, your dad's like,
Sure.
I'm not trying to be your mother. So they'd have to be like 18, 19 ish. Yeah.
Yeah, my ex had two kids, and one of the only reasons why I even entertained dating him in the beginning was one, his kids were a bit older, so the boys were probably like 11 and 13, and they were boys. There was no way that I would date a man that had girls because I just felt there would be this weird sense of, you're taking my dad away from me. And to that point, to someone that might have that same kind of mentality and mindset, that was always mine. Like, I get to be the fun mom, like, part
Mm-hmm.
time, your dad's girlfriend. We have a good time. We go skateboarding. We do all this fun shit. And for the woman that will be listening to this with this mentality that you're open to that, if the kids are younger, I just want you to keep this in mind. So for us, everyone's lives radically changed overnight when my ex-wife took her own life, and it was 2019, 2020, and those kids had to move in with us. And I don't want to say it was part of what started the end of that relationship, but that was not necessarily what I had signed up for. That's not
Mm-hmm.
the piece of why I was there. And I just remember looking at him, not even being able to fathom one, what he had seen, two, the trauma that he was going to be walking through for the rest of his life. But there was just this overwhelming sense within me. It's like, I feel like now, not that I was trying to replace her, but it was like, okay, cool. We got to make sure these kids are fed. They can't eat fast food like they do on the weekends when we're here. We have to
Mm-hmm.
give them some sense of normalcy. And, that's definitely like something extreme. But I had that same thought where it was like, well, I'm just the chill, like, girlfriend. They call me when
Mm-hmm.
they get in trouble. They don't want to talk to their parents. I can go pick them up when they're drunk, all of these things. And just, we never know what the universe has in store for us. But I just love that you hit on that, because I'm like, yeah, girl, that was me too. Like, same. And then life literally transformed for all of us overnight. And living with those kids, especially in COVID, we were in like these real tight quarters because the house that we got was just for me and his dad, not him and the kids and me. And it was just, I lost my office, and I believe that the kids never really dealt with their trauma. And I took a lot of it on, like, just the energy in the house. And at the time, I was talking to an energy coach, and I had gotten COVID, and so I couldn't meet with him in person, but we met on Zoom, and he was able to like pick up into it. He was like, Yolanda, I feel it. Like, I can sense it through this Zoom. So it gave me permission, like, no, you're not crazy. And then I had to start like getting my ducks in a row of,
Mm-hmm.
how am I going to honor myself in the same way that you are, like, you're all about, right? And honoring myself of doing what I feel like is going to be the best thing for me, and then everyone else involved too.
Yeah. And actually, thank you for sharing everything you've just shared, because now I realize I definitely don't want to date a man who has kids of any age. To be honest, I would like to meet my male counterpart, someone who has intentionally chosen not to impregnate. Like, listen, for a man to like keep his dick in his pants and not get somebody pregnant, and then that marriage ends. Like, I would like to be with a man who is so thoughtful that he never got anyone pregnant. How thoughtful are you? And then I don't want to deal with the baggage. I don't want to deal with the bag. I don't want to deal with your ex. I don't want to be hated in your kids' eyes, because kids are allowed to feel that way. Because
absolutely,
parents have split up. I'm this new person, and I'm just very mindful of the role that I play and making sure that the least amount of harm is done. Because it's not just about me being in love. Like, no, there are children involved here. So I can't just put aside children just because, it's all about me and my relationship. So I'd rather just date a guy who doesn't have kids.
Yeah. That's so important, because I'm a little bit of a brat. I'm an only child. I like attention. And when you enter into a relationship, first and foremost is whatever spiritual connection that person has. Relationship number one. Relationship number two, the relationship they have with themselves. Relationship number three, the relationship that they have with you. But if they have kids, girl, you are relationship number 4 or 5 at that point, right?
Yes.
And it's very different to date someone with kids. And I'm with you. I'm like, fuck that. I was not open to it when I was dating at all.
If we look at it in terms of mindset, it's just a different mindset, right? So like someone who has kids, someone who has consciously chosen to have children, has a very different mindset and a very different list of priorities than a person who has consciously chosen to be child free and does not have those priorities. So for me, it all boils down to mindset. I have nothing against kids. I have a niece and nephew who I love very much, but I don't want my sister's life.
Yeah. Fair.
I want her life. Not one bit. Like, I have never once envied or been jealous of someone who tells me that they're pregnant, ever.
No, I feel
honest with you on the Date Better podcast. Yeah. I don't envy you.
I feel that I don't really have a desire to be pregnant, like, at all. I don't have a desire for my body to change in that way. But I think the shift for me where like the desire has changed a bit is being able to do life and build something, or like this little creature and this little person with someone that would have really dope parents. And I don't think that shit would be easy. And a lot of times I still kind of like, this is a second guess for me, right? Like, I don't know. But for me, the shift has been, I'm just not this hard no anymore. So like you say,
good for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
What's going to be for us is going to be for us,
I told you I was a fixed sign, because when I was like, nothing and no one can change my mind. Like, it is just this, okay? I've been vegetarian my whole life. I was raised vegetarian. It's for religious reasons. I'm a Hindu. Nothing and no one can ever make me switch from being a vegetarian to a meat eater. I don't care how much protein I need. I don't care if I was sitting on an island and I was not. I'm a vegetarian. That is a part of who I am. That is my identity. It is the same way that I feel about having children. You cannot change my mind on this. And even if I were to meet the most amazing man in the world, my first thought isn't, let me produce children with you. My first thought is, how can we explore the world? You so much. Why do I need to produce? Why do I need both of us in another human being? I have you already. That's how I look at it. So it's like, I'd rather be doing stuff with you, raising a child.
Yeah, I feel like you have potentially given so many people permission, because a lot of women are in that same phase of, this is a thing that I think that I have to do. There was a girl on our team call today, and she said, I'm 33, and one of my friends just said, maybe just meant to be single at heart. There's a book apparently called Single at Heart. And she was going into this, but I think I should have kids by now. All these things. At some point, we have to get our own fucking brains, tune out society, and go inward and listen to yourself. Yeah. Like, and I just love that you're doing that. And I believe that the world needs to hear from more women that are, whatever the choice. If your choice is you want to have 5 fucking kids in the next 5 years, girl, go do that. I'm sorry, your uterus is never going to be healed, probably never will be the same, but that's between you and yourself and your body and your decisions. It's about being able to stand in, this is my truth. And I think that you just do that so beautifully.
Thank you. I always hope to inspire someone to be honest with themselves. I'm just sharing my truth. If my truth does not resonate with you, if you don't like me because of this, that's okay. But if anything that I'm saying is vibrating inside of you and you're like, oh my God, this is something I needed to hear, or this is the way I've been feeling, I couldn't put languaging around it, then take what I'm saying and run with it, and don't apologize for what you want or don't want.
Absolutely. And I have a saying that I believe people serve as teachers, messengers, or guides. I am pretty sure that you have helped guide a woman to her decision today, or at least given her the message that she's been needing to hear, or maybe not even needing, but actually it being a delivery, right? From whatever we believe in.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah. Vasavi, is there anything else you would love to share with us today?
No, this was really, I mean, this is the first time that I've been asked this question. This is the first time I have ever talked about this out loud. And so I can see myself talking about this more just so as to give permission. This is not about having kids or not having kids. This is about giving yourself permission to want what you want and to not want what you don't want. You know what I mean? So it's been an honor to be here, and thank you for asking me these questions. And also, Yolanda, thank you for making me feel like it was safe enough for me to share this stuff. It's not easy as a 41-year-old Indian woman to talk about her decision to be child-free so openly like this. So thank you.
Well, you're so welcome. And thank you for coming and spending time with me today. And I always, we're saying it out loud. We're saying and vocalizing our desires. And that is something that I believe all women need to do. Just being able, again, to stand in your truth unapologetically, and not for nothing, like, we're representing the brown girls, like the people of color. And I do think that that's so important, because I mean, the comments that I'll get online sometimes about my age and how I'm a has-been, all of these things that culturally, and I love too that we went into that with your parents, how they really encouraged you to go do the things, because culturally, we really are fighting against so much of a norm. Like, we are doing such heavy generational lifting to an extent, right? Showing other Indian women like, hey, you don't have to do this thing. You don't have to be a doctor, you know?
You don't have to be a doctor, and you don't have to have kids.
Yeah.
You really do not have, you don't have to go into science. You don't have to go into engineering and accounting. You don't have to go into tech unless you want to. Like, there's just so many options. Like, I love when I see Indian life coaches out there, and I'm seeing girls starting their own coaching business. Like, it feels really good. Yeah. So thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Vasavi, before we leave though, remind us where we can get your book and where we can find you on social media.
You can find my book at vasavikumar.com. I also have a free confidence building guide, and you can go to vasavikumar.com/guide for that. Oh, that's funny. You said guide. You said I was guiding people. Yeah. So vasavikumar.com/guide. And come leave me a voice note on my Instagram at my name is Vasavi. Let me know that you loved this episode with me and Yolanda.
Perfect. Well, Vasavi, thank you so very much. To my listener, I'm going to leave you with my mission as always, which is to empower you to embrace living your life real, raw, and free as fuck. I love you so much. I'll see you next week.
If you love today's episode, then say it out loud. Subscribe, leave a review, and come say hi over on Instagram at My Name is Vasavi. Until next time, say it out loud.